Okay. So yeah, would anybody where this is the first class, would you like to kind of introduce yourself and what you're hoping to get out of this time?
Hello.
Okay.
My name is Karen Pittman, and I have participated with Appamada starting in probably about 2019. It was before the pandemic,
Yeah.
but I haven't stuck with it. I started the precepts class, and I'm a precepts class drop.
Okay.
So, what I'm hoping to get out of it, maybe to reconnect a little bit.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for coming back. Nelda, would you like to?
Interesting, we have several 2019 people here because I started with Appamada about that time. And what I'm hoping to get from this is I love being with the Sangha and in the Zendo. And it was 2019 when I was last oriented. And I thought I'd come back and get a refresher. So,
What's your name?
Nelda?
Nelda.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Evan?
I'm Evan. It's around 2018, 2019. It must be something astrological happening that's making all this show up at the same time. But I realized within a minute that actually in those years never really learned what I was doing. I was just kind of doing what other people did a little bit, and so I didn't even know how excited I would be to be a part of it in that way. I know it's like nobody cares or is mad at you, but I don't know how to describe it exactly. But yeah.
Yeah, Evan and I, before we got started today, we were kind of going over a little bit of the forms, and he may be a model for us. So, so that's a good kind of lead-in. So, Manuel, would you like to?
Sure. My name is Manuel. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Manuel Quinto Pozos. I live in Austin, but I'm away this week. I've been to a couple of different orientations once in Appamada and once in a different Zendo. But I have been more regular. I'm not an everyday person, but I've been more regular for the past few months. And I am here to always eager to expand my exposure to practice and to others' experience of the practice, and also to support Jess as well. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else that was that's new today that would like to say hello? Okay. So, well, from class one, and you're not going to be behind or anything like that if you didn't watch class one. So one of my intentions was to showcase that in Appamada, our practice is a relation one. And we got to hear from many different voices. And, I think that without a Sangha, without persons that we are connected to, even I've noticed, like sometimes without roles, it is difficult to maintain a regular practice. So that kind of thread that we find within Appamada, within our Zen practice, it's hard to go through this alone. It's hard to practice alone. That's what I found. So, um, I think the stronger our connections, probably the less volatility and the consistency of our practice. So I hope through this series too, that maybe you hear a certain voice or person that you connect to and want to meet with and talk with. And, you know, here today we have Kim and Joel, who are both interested teachers with us and offer practice discussion. I think that's, that we have this. And Nelda here, she's a council member, as am I. So I think people here are very engaged in the practice. So I was, so I don't know, I hope Rosemary's okay. I sent her some things to share on the screen. And so instead, what I'm gonna do is do my best to show on this book. So this book is Opening the Hand of Thought by Kosho Uchiyama. And we've been reading a book by Okumura, who Uchiyama was his teacher. So this is my favorite picture. Anyways, I really appreciate it. And so what he did here is, this is on the, I don't know on which side this is, but of course on one side there's a person sitting in zazen, in meditation, and then there's an illustration of Rodin's The Thinker. And so, is that in the Zendo, can you see that okay, or should I? Okay, wonderful. So, I have a lot of thoughts about this myself, but when you see this, does anything, just checking in, does anything arise for you?
The person with that might have back problems.
Yeah, Karen said the person may have back problems, the thinker.
It's an open position to the world as opposed to a closed position in a very high and in the brain position, whereas the meditative position is more open to everything. And of course, the alignment allows the flow of energy from everything into your body, down your back, and so yeah, just a very much more open. The thinker looks stressed to me.
Yeah, so people are nodding their heads. Why? Oh, Evan, were you going to say something?
No, I guess it's just like I was saying. The thinker is totally in his head, like physically. Everything else is just kind of attached. The person in zazen is an integrated body that looks like. And that's what I would do if I wanted to go up inside my head. I would fold down my body and then.
Yeah. So Uchiyama, he kind of illustrates this and says that, you know, with the thinker, his muscles are clenched, even his toes are curled, and he's thinking, he's in this sort of thought process, and his body is not the focus of the energy. He's really kind of trying to grasp certain thoughts, like he's thinking deeply. And in the zazen position, the idea here is that when we sit, we welcome it all. So these thoughts will come. We don't necessarily cling to them. They move, our emotions move, and we inhabit a position when we're sitting that is like a container that can hold and allow things to move through. So we're not actively trying to grasp or develop certain thoughts ourselves. It's Zazen is a place where our thoughts and emotions can move freely, and we can also have an awareness of them. He says, and often it is said, that like kind of our posture is fundamental. Okamura says we're always kind of up here, and in our practice we kind of move here. Suzuki Roshi, who is we can't kind of have an intro to class without referencing him. So he brought this Soto Zen from Japan to the US, and he has a very similar sort of framework when we think about Zazen, and I'm gonna read this. He says, when you sit in Zazen, at first you will find your mind is very busy, but gradually you will find your mind becomes quieter and quieter. And when you become concentrated, you will find that thinking waves are just like waves on the water. Even though waves arise, the water itself is always calm. Waves are just the activity of the water. Our thinking is just the activity of our mind. If your mind is always busy, that means you're always being tossed by waves. But if you try to stop the waves, that will be extra work, and also it'll be impossible. The best way is just to sit in Zazen in the middle of waves. And then I kind of put in bold this next part. I was having practice discussion with Todd, another of our teachers, and he shared this quote, so I'm sharing it. In Zazen, leave your front door and your back door open. So like imagining a house. Leave your front door and your back door open. Let thoughts come and go. Just don't serve them tea. There may be many visitors coming and going. If you entertain each one, you will be lost in the endless activity. Just keep sitting. That is the secret of Zazen. So, I'm showing this again. If you entertain each one, you will be lost in endless activity. Just keep studying. That is the secret of Zazen. Any further thoughts or ideas or reflections?
What is the name of the book again?
Well, there's two books. One is the Opening the Hand of Thought by Uchiyama, and the other one, the quote that I just read from, is Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind.
Thank you.
Direct practice of being aware of what is, seeing reality as it is, and from there, once we see things as they are, wisdom can grow, compassion can grow. This is realized through practice, not from an intellectual place. So I thought that, kind of thinking about the position of sitting, and of course we can sit in our chairs, we don't just sit the way that picture illustrates. Perhaps we could do a 5-minute, just a 5-minute sit to settle us, to kind of like inhabit what we sort of just learned. And Evan, have you invited the bell before? Never. Okay.
I look forward to it.
Okay. So, yeah, get comfortable in that cushion, in that one. Yeah. Yeah. And then,
Do you need another cushion?
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
You need another cushion?
okay. And then there's a striker, the large one. And then all you do is just, by inviting the bell, you'll use the striker and hit the side of it. And we'll do for 5 minutes. Okay. Go do it again. Yeah, why not? On our end, we sat, and then we invited the bell again. So, but any reflections from that time?
The time when we weren't together?
Well, Joel, yeah.
Well, I did get to sit with the group for a while, and I really appreciated the fresh reminder of the thoughts will come and go, just don't invite them to tea. And I was able, with that in my mind, to let some things come and go, and to watch how I was trying to practice. I did this with concentration practice the other night, using Blanche Hartman's talk about mudras, about the cosmic mudra, and just trying to pay attention to what was going on in my hands, and then watching how my discursive mind was saying, well, what's the most important thing? Is it my fingers? Is it the way my thumbs are touching? Is it the way it doesn't feel very comfortable sitting on my legs? You know, that just watching those thoughts roll through and not have to get glued onto them, you know. So, but I appreciate the guidance at the very beginning there.
Thank you. So, with that, again, Todd, when I was in practice session with him, he said I could share the story that when he was a gymnast, when he was young, he would be flying, when he's flying in the air, you would change your direction based on how you would move your head. So if you move it this way, it would, apparently you would move in a certain direction. And he said he noticed here in Zen that people would do so very similarly, but instead of leading with the head, they lead with their body. And often, obviously, like I think Joel was kind of referencing, like, our thoughts, our mind will kind of go here and go there. And often our mind will want some special knowledge or intellectual morsel to take from a class. And usually that's what we think about when we think about class, like in the West, is that sort of model. But the nature of Zen is more than just mind or more than just thought. And it's the nature of direct practice, experience, and it's embodied, which is the theme of our practice period. So I thought that was a helpful lead-in when it comes to thinking, when it comes to practicing our forms. Because the way that I think about our forms is once, and as head student, I'm learning different forms and different roles. But I believe the intention is the more we practice, the deeper this this practice goes. So we're not just kind of having to think about what do we do when this happens, what do we do when that happens. We're practicing kind of leading with our body. So that's kind of I think a good introduction to practicing forms. So we have the, do we have it? Yeah, we have the image of the Zendo here, and I think we want to make it bigger for the people that are here. So I thought we would first, and these forms, people here are both in person and online, and we can, wow, right in the middle of like the cameras, so you can't see. But I thought that we would, we practice them here, but these are things we can practice at home too. So Evan, maybe we can start by how to enter the Zendo. And of course, you can adjust your seats, those who are here.
Let's turn the seats.
So when we enter, this is Gasho, where our hands are, our palms are together, kind of at the level of the mouth, and then we bow when we enter. We take usually like left foot step in, and then we can go to our seat, which is, you know, we don't have like assigned seats here, so Evan's gonna, it's great. So it's really like what seat is available. And so at home, you can also, when you enter the room where you're practicing, you can also do this as kind of embodying the practice. Next, we can kind of go to our seats. So I think maybe Evan, you could come here for the camera. And so first we kind of get our first when you come in, you get your cushion situated as you like it. You might kind of dust off a little if you like. Then when you're ready, you'll bow to your seat and then turn clockwise and bow to the room. And then you can return to the seat. If you're facing the wall, then you can just kind of situate it. And kind of the first thing that we want is a stable position. So I often think of it as like a tripod, where you have like your butt on the cushion, and then you have one knee on the cushion, so that's 2 spots, and then you have 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, so that you're not sort of off kilter during the sitting. So to kind of maintain stillness. So you can do this different ways. I guess maybe we should face the room if we're. So whatever you kind of, oh no, did we lose? Oh, okay.
Jess, while they're off camera, 2 things. It's not how I was taught into the Zendo. And number 2 is I noticed that depending on which teacher you get instruction from, you get a whole different into the Zendo style. So
Could we have that a little louder? We can't hear you.
Yeah, let's bring it to the group. It just looks different on our end for some reason, but so now that kind of share what you were saying.
I was sharing with Jess that since 2019, I have experienced different teachers or head students teaching how to enter the Zendo and do the various different forms differently. So I've entered the Zendo since 2019 in one way, with Christoph showed me, or I think it was Flint too. And so I mention that because I hope that no one gets unsettled by the fact that sometimes we get a different instruction on how a form is performed. I think it would be lovely if we had consistency, but I don't know, I'm not in charge of that, thankfully.
Well, maybe can you show us how maybe you've been taught to enter?
Yeah, and Robin explained how this is the fundamental form for your entire Zen practice and your life. And she gave a talk on forms. She said the purpose of forms is to bring you into the moment of where you are, what you're doing, what you're doing. So when you're entering this practice space, this sacred space, you first bring your attention to the space. Then you enter with your left foot already in posture. Put them together and bow because you're already in the sacred space. This is sort of the outside world, this is sort of the inside world.
Yeah, so once you enter, then you bow once you're kind of in the space.
Right.
And then when I was showing bowing prior to entering. So Joel, Kim, yeah, tell us your understanding. I see Joel's hand is raised.
It is, thank you. You know, I was taught that you step forward with the foot closest to the altar.
Oh.
So in my case, that would be my right foot. So, I know, but otherwise, everything else that has been shown has been in line with what I was shown by Peg originally. Kim, what do you say?
I think what we've been doing is the foot away from the altar.
Ah, how interesting.
Yeah, so we'll
That
have to.
Rosemary agrees with that? Okay, well, I've been doing it wrong for 18 years.
I don't think the important thing is the being there.
Yeah.
And
So,
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, one other thing, and that is the hand position for walking through the Zendo. I sometimes see people walking with their hands down at their sides and so on. And what I was shown was once you step through that you do what I call this kind of kung fu looking thing where you make a fist with your left hand and then cover it with your right hand and hold that, kind of at the, what is this, where your rib cage at the bottom of your sternum, and that you when you're walking through the space, if you're going over to get a cushion in the other opposite corner and then back to your seat, etc. But whenever you're not in gasho for a ceremonial thing, if you're moving around, that your hands stay in this, I think called shashu position. So just I throw that in there. Thank you.
And what, so, I guess I'm thinking out loud, but I've been doing it a certain way coming into the Zendo for 7 years, and I'd rather it not be 18 years. So what is the understanding? Do we bow before we enter? Do we bow once we enter? Or is it sort of like, I don't know, is it just different for different?
I think it's
I can tell you what Peg showed me, which is pretty close to what you showed, but not exactly the same. But that as you pass through the doorframe, you come to the doorframe, you stop. As you step through with whichever foot on the doorframe, then as you're stepping through, you bring your hands up. So you're in the Zendo before you bow. And then, then you bring your back foot forward to meet your first foot, and then you bow.
Okay.
But your hands are coming up as you make the first step.
Okay. Your hands are coming up, you meet the first step, and then you bow. So, sounds like
So it says left foot, the one closest to the other foot.
Yeah,
You bow when your second foot comes forward to meet your first foot.
and then as we walk, we're in this chateau position, and that's like a resting position. Yeah, between things too. Okay, okay. And since so many of us are, I'm curious. I can't really see it. Oh, Kim.
Yeah, I just asked Peg and she said left foot first.
Well, it's written in the introduction, left foot first in the guide.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all learning. We're all learning. I'm learning. So very good. And then how we sit. Now that you've been sitting in the chair position more often, right? Or am I wrong?
Wait,
Yeah. How do you have any advice as to how to sit in the chair position?
for me, it's helpful. I'll get sideways. I don't know. I think that is. For me, I first scooch my cushion, hit my bottom cushion, push all that. And for me, it's more helpful to have a cushion under my feet because of the circulation. Sometimes, depending on the length of your legs, you can feel your circulation cut off. And then, fortunately, I danced at one time, so the airway passage is always important. So first take a deep breath and level my chin and just drop it as smooth as tiny bit. And I remember to roll the lower tips of my shoulders back, sort of pulling those together and then relaxing completely, because if there's one part of your body that's tense, the whole body's tense, is what I learned in other classes. So once I do that, then I like having a little cushion on my back to lean into back issues, those of us who are older and have those issues. So I do that, so it's bodily cushion all the way back, then having the airway passage open, tiny little tip down, breath, push the tips of the shoulders down, and then relax the whole body and sit. With my neutral. That's me.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your mudra.
I love the universal mudra. And what I love about it is it helps me with concentration. It helps me with my intention in terms of my practice. And that is that it be a universal practice. That whatever flows out of me flows into the universe, hopefully always good. You know, if I can't do good, at least no harm, right? And I love my mudra because it's in some ways a focal point for me. I wonder which hand is touching which hand first. And so it helps me focus on my sit, in a sense. If I notice that my hands are sliding a bit apart, my fingers are so on, then that tells me maybe I'm not fully present in this moment. And my hands are a good guide for that.
I see hands raised. Kim, Joel. Oh, okay, it's just from before. Okay. Yes, Joel.
I actually do want to add something, and that is if you read Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, there's mention of Suzuki Roshi. Suzuki Roshi was really sensitive to how people move chairs around. And Peg has mentioned this to me before, and it's a natural thing to, if you're going to have to move your chair, and you almost have to, almost every time if you're sitting in a chair in the Zendo, to make some adjustments. But if you lift it up and set it back down, instead of dragging it across the floor, it makes less noise. And a lot of the focus on the forms is on being respectful and having the least impact on the people around you. That's the part of the thing of, the shashu and moving slowly, deliberately, etc. So Nelda, this may seem like I'm focusing on you, and not at all. I have many times dragged the chair across the floor and then thought, oh, that's not what Peg showed me. So it's just a good practice to remember that the floor and the chair interact with sound waves, and it's possible to minimize that by lifting it up. I remember hearing early on, a Suzuki Roshi story, or somebody, Peg, saying, oh, you can tell about a student by the way they open a door. And like, oh God, everybody can see how bad I am from the way I open the door, and I think that there's a lot of fear that gets attached to forms because of that kind of potential scrutiny, but the main thing is just to do your best and to be respectful.
Rosemary.
Jess, and everyone, I just wanted to say that I emailed Kim your attachments with the rest of the time, if you wanted to show them, Kim, I hope that you're okay with sharing them. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So Evan here, tell us about, so you use like more of a kneeling position.
Yes.
So that's what's comfortable for you, and then for me, I usually have like the tripod and one leg up, and I think that's something you can also like talk with the teacher about, is how we're sitting. And I think this is like a really good, I'll stand up and move over here. And so, okay, so tomorrow we're gonna have a Dharma talk on vow and joy. And Leah's going to be a part of that talk as well here. So I think this is what comes up for me, is that vow can be thought of as like our deep life purpose. And in the mornings we chant these vows that are very, I guess I would use the word ambitious. But on the other side of vow is repentance, which is not kind of in a, that sounds like a heavy word, but it's more of accepting that we are human, that we are going to make errors, we are going to make mistakes. And when we have vows, there is a compromise between our vow and repentance, like, kind of to be able to move forward, because just that, I guess, that humility, but then also accepting and realizing that we are going to make mistakes. So I think this this whole practice on forms shows that, I think, for all of us, that we aren't perfect. We are going to do things differently and need to learn. So so we have, let's see, 5 minutes left. So Kim, could you show the attachment that says the Thich Nhat Hanh attachment?
Oh, the attachment I got was the merit. Did you send me 2 attachments, Rosemary?
There's like one email with 4 attachments.
I sent you 2 emails, Kim. One had 4 attachments and one had 1 attachment.
Okay, you want the Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah, yeah.
The Anapanasati Sutta?
No, the,
Okay, let me go back.
It should be called Thich Nhat Hanh. Oh, can you see it?
And then it says ancestry and dedication. One is
There's
ancestry and dedication, and the other one is called Jess, and it has.
4 documents.
Oh, I know what you mean. Okay. Look deeply.
yeah, look deeply. Look deeply.
Okay, sorry. Share.
Okay, so I thought this was, I took a picture of this. There's some of us that, you know, are practicing online and may not be in the Zendo. And this is a frame that we have like in the back corner that you wouldn't see with the big screen. And I think what comes up for me is that I think one of the unique things about Appamada is that we take we look at things from also like a psychological viewpoint. And so a lot of people here will talk about internal family systems, which is a therapeutic model. And I really, so when I walk and I'll see this, I think about all of our different parts of ourselves. And it's the listening is, to me, what comes up is that it's not having a conversation or engaging in that way, but more just kind of hearing these parts. And so I find that sort of like in the Zendo when we're in meditation, that sort of just feels compatible. And this is a print from Thich Nhat Hanh. So, yeah, anybody else have any reflections on this and our practice? Okay,
I do.
okay, yeah,
Jess and Rosemarie have their hands raised.
okay. Rosemarie,
Um, so my reflection is that looking deeply takes time. And that's practice edge for me, and just in general, taking the time to be mindful. And I don't think you can do this looking deeply without intentionally offering more time for me than I usually do. And listening with compassion, yeah, that's another practice of taking the backward step. That's the listening part, and then with compassion is another layer. So it's beautiful. Thank you for pointing that out.
thank you. Nelda,
When I got in my car yesterday, here's what I heard. Why don't we walk through life with forbearance rather than forgiveness? Why don't we leave forgiveness for the monumental, universal things that happen? Or forbearance for all else. And if you look up forbearance, what it means, it's just that. It's just that Thich Nhat Hanh quote. Patience, calmness, compassion. It contains so many of the elements of what that quote is. So since yesterday, and I hope from here on, but I walk through the world with forbearance rather than a concept of right, wrong, yes, no, you owe me something, like an apology, you know. Let's just put that whole concept of people doing right, wrong aside and walk through love with forbearance, and I think that's as sane as you can get.
Thank you. So to wrap up, one is like, what would this class be without all these different voices and kind of helpful instruction as to what we're doing and how we're doing it? And it's something, anyways, I think that's really helpful to have these voices. And two, it strengthens our practice to kind of have people that we can talk with. And next week, we will talk about one thing that just really speaks to me is like this Okamura and Thich Nhat Hanh and their concepts of time. And I really hope to share that next time. There's a beautiful sutra on the mindfulness of breathing that is guided, and you know, perhaps, yeah, we can go there. And also, if you have any questions or thoughts about what you would like next time, feel free to email me, let me know. Also, this practice period is coming to an end, and the head student and the T's, really it's like this coming week, that's when we're gonna have tea, and then the following week is the intensive. So if you'd like to have tea, please let me know. And you can sign up on the website as well, or email me. So, okay, well, thank you all.